And hello everybody, welcome to 95.7 The Talk. I am your host SNIACHYDCCXI, and today we are doing episode 1 of season 1, and this is the intro and signing on. I'm going to be not trying to hit myself in the face with my mic, because I kind of just did that right now. So we're gonna get right into this. So I am SNIACHYDCCXI, and I will be joined with my brother Joe here in a few minutes. But for right now, we're gonna talk about the Scarlet Violet DLC. So basically, what's gonna be happening this fall and in the winter will be the Scarlet and Violet DLC, the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, with the two legendaries, Ogerpon for the Teal Mask and Terapagos, which is the third string legendary of the Koraidon and Miraidon, like that. So then they make up the trio. So you got Ogerpon and Terapagos, the two legendaries, and Terapagos is the mascot for the Indigo Disc DLC. And then we're gonna also talk about if Blueberry Academy and Kitakami are, or just Kitakami alone is, or whatever, if they're all connected to the Kalos region, because people have been speculating recently that this DLC is going to be in Kalos. And from the map in Blueberry, there's a scene in Blueberry Academy in the trailer for the Indigo Disc, because it's kind of split into two parts. So you really have this little quick shot of a map on the wall where it shows a map that resembles Kalos. So what I'm thinking is that it may have some direct correlation to the Kalos region, and if that's true, then we're gonna there's a possibility that Zygarde or Squishy can come back in the DLC and fight Terapagos and or Ogerpon, because I think if that's true, then you can probably get your Zygarde from your X and Y game, put it into Pokemon Home, and then put it into your Scarlet and Violet game. Because pretty soon, Game Freak is going to be allowing that connection to happen. So then Scarlet and Violet will be connected up to Pokemon Home, and then you can, put your Pokemon in there, because Pokemon Home is basically like the equivalent of Apple's iCloud. And then you can just kind of, transfer your Pokemon at will. So then you don't really have to worry about anything like that without having to worry about losing a Pokemon. Because sometimes, the games bug out and things get lost in translation. So there's that. Also, for the most part, I think that the DLC within itself is gonna be a very important part of the whole storyline, especially with Terapagos, because Terapagos is the disc Pokemon that everybody's been talking about recently, and people have had multiple theories, whether it's Zygarde or something to do with, or this giant floating earth turtle creature from European and American folklore, which I think that may be the case, because if you go on Google and look up a map of the Paldea region, and you look closely, it does actually resemble a turtle. It actually resembles that turtle from the European and American folklore. So then that would mean Terapagos is actually huge. I don't know how in the crap you would like do the whole let's go mode thing with it, because it would like take up the entire freaking screen. In reality, it would be a massive creature. Because I've seen on YouTube that people are saying that Terapagos is bigger than they thought it was. Because I'm like, if you look at it, if you look at the Paldea region, it kind of resembles Terapagos' shape. So what I'm thinking is that the Terapagos that got introduced to us for the Indigo Disc deals, the Indigo Disc part of the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero DLC, is its like earthly or standard form. And then its actual form is the giant like the thing with the orb. Its true form is when it gets the orb with the hexagons on it. And to add to that, it can also change. I think it'll be able to change its typing. Because it has all 18 typing symbols on its shell. So I think at some point in the Indigo Disc, there could be something where you can. I think it'll be some kind of like something with Arceus's plates, because Arceus can also change its typing. So then you have Terapagos, which could change its typing, or it would be all 18 types at once. So technically, in a sense, it would be. It technically wouldn't be weak to anything. But actually there is, because if it's like Ice and Dragon, then yeah, it'll be weak to Fairy, because Fairy it has the advantage over Dragon, and Ice it'll be then weak to Fire. But if that's not the case, then Terapagos is going to essentially be completely and utterly invincible if it has no weaknesses. If it pulls a Shedinja, if you are able to give it a Focus Sash, teach it Substitute, and if it let's say it has the ability Wonder Guard, which I doubt will happen. But that in turn would be insane, because if you have a Pokemon that's exactly like how Shedinja functions, because that's how it functions, then you are looking at it's basically going to become a brick wall. And if you were to put it into competitive play, which I doubt is going to happen, because they're probably going to ban Terapagos from competitive play, just obviously because it's a legendary, and most legendaries are banned from the competitive tournaments. But let's say it is allowed in competitive play. It's basically going to be a brick wall. Like, you will not be able to take it down. It's going to, like, if it has, like, Protect and Shield, Spike Shield, because, I mean, if it's every single type it can learn pretty much every single move that has ever existed over the past 27 years Pokemon has been a franchise. So now moving on to Ogerpon. So this dude, I was not expecting there to be a fourth legendary. So what? Now we have like the Treasures of Ruin. We have that quartet, and now we have, I guess we could call it the Paradox Quartet. Because if Ogerpon has something to do with like all the time travel and stuff, then I think that could, or actually, let me reiterate on the Terapagos thing for a second. So the Terapagos that we were introduced to, like back on the 27th of February, which was Pokemon Day. So that version of Terapagos basically is just its standard form, and that's what we were introduced to. So possibly that disc thing we saw in that big orb thing that was sitting on in Heath's book, who was the dude that drew Iron Treads and Great Tusk and Terapagos, and the Paradox versions of Suicune and Virizion. That version of Terapagos in Heath's book might actually be its past form, its past Paradox form, because it shows it in space. So I'm assuming that ball it is sitting on is not some sort of Terra orb type thing. I think that might be planet Earth, because if people are right about Terapagos being bigger than they thought it was, then that means that some point in the game in the DLC part of the game, and also in the Pocket Monsters 2023 anime, or the Paldea Saga anime, that at some point when Rico and Roy encounter this thing, that when it switches to its full form, it'll probably be a Koraidon situation where it slowly gains its power back over time. And then it'll eventually cause Rico and Roy to probably ride on the shiny Rayquaza that was shown in the reveal trailer for the new anime. And because then at that point, I think Terapagos is going to be sitting on top of the planet. And that's when it's going to see if it sits on top of the Earth. Because I think it's going to terrestrialize the entire planet. And that's the orb that we've been looking at the entire time. I think that giant orb is planet Earth. So it's very, very easy to say that people are kind of right, because you could either say it's just a big orb that it holds on to, kind of like how certain Pokemon are holding certain things, and and then they use that as like a weapon, like Reller, like one of the new Pokemon that was introduced with Scarlet and Violet. That thing, when its evolved form has a ball, which was like put together with its psychic energy, but the Pokédex entry says the real Pokemon inside is that ball, is inside of the ball. And see, the point I'm trying to make is that Terapagos is that ball that you see in Heath's book. That's the real thing. That's the real Pokemon that would be inside. Because, like, the energy inside of that ball is probably what whatever would be the way Terapagos changes into its full form. Because if it absorbs enough or all the terrestrial energy from the crater, then technically let's say in the anime it's like Rico and Roy are riding shiny Rayquaza in space, and then Terapagos sits on top of the Earth and then terrestrializes it, and that's the orb, and then you have its full form. Then that's the actual Pokemon. So there's that. I'm gonna call this the here. I kind of forget what okay, Rabska is Relor's evolution. I'm gonna call this the Rabska theory. So excuse me. Basically that there's that with Terapagos. Now moving on to Ogerpon, as before I kind of got off on a little Terapagos tangent right there. But for Ogerpon, on the other hand, I think, see, the mask thing, that's not its face. It's just a mask. Its real face is under that mask, and people are saying it looks like Glamora. I know, because I was watching a Tyranitar Tube video the other day, and he was saying that it's like you can kind of see the eyes of Ogerpon, which obviously it's a bird. So what Tyranitar Tube was saying, I cannot talk today, was that Ogerpon kind of has its eyes resemble Glamora. Now Glamora is Champion Gita's signature Pokemon, which I don't know why. It's a little floating Pandorian bush, but that's just what it is. Now, she could have pulled a Leon and had, like, I don't know, a dragon, like any dragon type, like Druddigon or Haxorus or whatever. Like, she could have had a Pokemon that was stronger, because she is probably, like, yesterday when I was watching, or the day before, because I've been currently watching Tyranitar Tube's playthrough of Scarlet. So I was like, when he was battling Gita, I was like, holy crap, Gita is like easy. But that's like, because, well, first of all, she wasn't even bringing out her full power, and second of all, I think her team is just at a horribly huge disadvantage against most Pokemon. Because, see, with my team, I have a Lugia, Ho-Oh, Suicune, Chimecho, Groudon, and Mewtwo for my Soul Silver team. Now for my White 2 team, it varies, because I change them intermittently throughout the time that I'm playing the game. So it really varies. But with my Soul Silver team, that's kind of what I'm sticking with. That's my final team. So the team that I'll have in Scarlet to start off with, I have it in a list. So the team that I'm going to have at the beginning is going to be Fuecoco, Tarantula, Pawmi, Wingull, Arrokuda, and Flittle. Which I love Flittle's evolution of Spathra, just because it's like a Cleopatra ostrich. And that's cool that they're kind of incorporating an Egyptian theme into one of the region's birds, and I think an Egyptian region or a Chinese region for the Gen 10 or Gen 11 games would be kind of nice, actually, to have like pharaoh forms, or like treasure forms, or kind of like how Thunderous, Landorus, and Tornadus and Enamorus have their Therian forms. And also kind of tying into Ogerpon with a like they could have Therian forms. So basically Xianpao, Tinglu, Chiyu, and Wo Xian all could have like a Therian, like a quote-unquote Therian form in like future games, because if the game takes place in China, let's say, then they could have some sort of like ancient Chinese treasure form. Not exactly like a gimme ghoul type thing, but they could have some sort of treasure form. And I think that would be kind of cool though. And also let's say that's Gen 10. Now let's say Gen 11 introduces an Egyptian region where the Pokemon have like not exactly Therian forms, but like pharaoh forms. And like you could call it like ancient evolution or something, or like I don't know, but like it would kind of be cool to have like ancient like pharaoh looking legendaries and like have different, or like god and goddess forms would actually make sense, because the Egyptians worship like many gods and goddesses, and I think that would be kind of cool. And then because I feel like they always, and then Game Freak will always give an evolution to one of the most underrated Pokemon in the national in the national decks. Because I feel like a lot of I think Solrock and Lunatone deserve evolutions if it was in like an Egypt type region or something. So basically, yeah, we could have Egypt, China, maybe even like Russia. I feel like do a whole Russian thing like that. That would be kind of cool. Or India. People have been like speculating about like an India region. That would also be kind of cool though. Like you could have like a Vishnu type thing. They call it Vishaknu. That actually sounds dope though. Well, for the most part, I doubt that any of that's gonna happen. Those are just theories and speculations. So now moving on to Ogerpon. Okay, so first of all, its mask, its face looks like Glamora if you were to take its mask off. So then you would have I think the let's say the mask is concealing its true form, and then when it takes it off, it changes into its actual form, kind of like with the whole Terrapagos situation, where it like sits on the earth and terastallizes it and becomes its actual form. So basically that goes back to the Rabska effect. And then you can ultimately say that the Rabska effect can coincide with Zygarde. Because its true form is when all the little cores fuse into the two cells, and then you have I don't know. A lot of other Pokemon would fall into that category. So then you could, say that for any other Pokemon that would fall into that category for the most part. So Ogerpon, I think, is when you take off its mask, when the mask is removed, its true form gets revealed, and then you have these two insanely powerful beasts. And I do not know why there's no sound wave thing. It's just a straight line, but it'll probably pop up once I'm done recording. But for the most part, Ogerpon's true form is, I think, when the mask gets taken off of its face. So basically, there's the Rabska theory and the Rabska theory effect. The Rabska effect theory. So now moving on to the Blue Boat game side of things. So in this, and also eco-efficiency. So basically in this podcast, during this show, I'm going to be exploring many different things, like how to be more eco-efficient, how to, anything, like sports, science, Pokemon, whatever. Just, suggest it down in the comments and what you want to hear from me in future episodes and future seasons and future episodes and whatnot, because I would love to see your ideas in the comments, because then that'll give me more of an idea of what I want to talk about in the future. So then we have the whole Blue Boat Gang album series, which I will also be talking about a lot of music too, by the way. Then after that, we can go on to talk about hyper reality, how to be more eco-efficient, weird sports that I've found across the internet, like goal ball, for example. That, in fact, is for blind people, actually, if any of you didn't know. But so what it is, basically, you have two long goals on either side. It's a small soccer field-like court, and then you have a ball with a bell in it, because the people are able to hear where the ball is, because there's a bell in the ball. And then once you gain possession of the ball, you have 10 seconds to return it and try to score on the other side. So once you gain possession of the ball, you have 10 seconds to return it to the other side and try to score. So that's kind of how goal ball works, and I'll be explaining more of that in the Strange Sports arc. Then I'm also going to be talking about the Wii. I'm going to be talking about the future Wii Sports, because I really haven't been able to talk about that much, because back in 2014 and 2015, when we were still playing the Wii quite often, this is before the Switch came out, so because since Nintendo Switch Sports is out and there's more sports in that game, I feel like there's a lot more to talk about. So back in 2014 and 2015, we kind of started creating a bunch of Miis and whatnot.
This seems rather close to your mouth.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Hey, we started creating a lot of Miis and whatnot. Are you even recording right now?
Yeah, it is recording, but I don't know why it flatlines like that.
Well, how do you feel about SNIACHYDCCXI Fest 2028.
I feel good about it.
Why are you talking so close? You don't talk that close to a microphone.
I know.
This is not how you talk into a microphone.
I know that.
You talk like here.
Yeah.
Hello? You don't... It's not this.
I know.
You want to throw a baseball?
Sure. I thought we were gonna do this.
I thought we were doing that later.
Oh yeah, that's right. We could throw baseball or shoot hoops for that matter.
It's easier for me to throw a baseball or football
True.
than to shoot hoops.
So, with that, I think that things are going to be going well for this episode, so this will be out soon. And now, it is obviously sunny, and then I'm gonna go outside and throw a baseball and get that over with. So this is the first episode of season 1. So I have the cover art for the first episode. And so this is the sign-on. So this will be season 1. And I'm going to have to... Let me upload this thing real quick to my YouTube.
Press 1 and you will be connected to the concerned department. If we don't hear from you...
That thing is the intro. Yeah, it's one of those stupid automated voice messages where it's like, we're forced to take legal action against you and blah blah blah. I'm like, who cares? It's stupid. It's just an automated robot. But I need something for season 1. So we are gonna put out... We need like the head. So I'll figure that out, and I will see you guys in episode 2 with my brother later tonight. So I will see you all next time. And make sure to tune into my YouTube and select all when you subscribe. So there's that. I will see you all in the next episode and the rest of season 1 and beyond, and we will have a great time on this show and get things going. So yeah, and have a nice day and peace.